All right, so today is September 21st, which is my dad's birthday, my good buddy PJ's birthday, Trevor from Trevor at the Track's birthday, Wes Perry on saxophone's birthday, and it's also 6 months from me turning 35, which is significant because as I've been on this music journey, if you want to call it that, people along the way have asked me, like, so at what point in, this whole thing, if the music thing doesn't work out, like, at what point will you, maybe consider doing something else? And in my head, it's always been, I figured by the time I turn 35, I'm like, if I'm 35 years old and I'm still not proud of where I'm at and I'm not doing big things, then that's when I'll have to reconsider going back to school or picking up a trade, something like that. But here we are. It's 6 months till I turn 35, and I just got back from a tour that took me to Toronto, Brooklyn, Nashville, Atlanta, San Francisco, LA. And then we just did another one-off festival in Boise. I've been playing with this singer named Carlie Hanson. And aside from that, before that tour even popped up, like, I have kind of amazed myself that I've been able to make a full-time living, sustainable living, just playing gigs and doing corporate events, private events, playing sessions as a guitar player with different people, and slowly kind of taking up this whole audio engineering thing and editing videos and all this stuff. So here we are. I guess this is me saying I did it, which is kind of weird to say because there is no, like, I don't know, doing it, making it, however you want to call it. It's a never-ending, continuous thing. Like, I'm here to constantly be learning new things and just like it's the journey continues. We're not done yet, but here we are. I mean, I'm at a point of no return. I mean, personally, I've been at a point of no return. In my head, there's been no plan B, and I think that's kind of, for me, that's the mentality that I needed to take on to be able to have a music career, especially coming from no music school background. Nobody in my family plays music or anything like that, and pursuing this career was not encouraged at all. So it feels good to be here right now. And so with 6 months until I turn 35, I figured this is the moment right here where I can take advantage of every day for the next 6 months, or at least every weekday. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try to go every day for the next 6 months. I want to be uploading to this YouTube channel, and whether it's like sharing what's going on in my head, some story that just happened, just playing guitar, I don't know. Everybody wants to always know too, like, well, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, what's it going to be about? What are you going to do? I don't know, a little bit of everything, I guess. So today, right now, let's see, how much time do I have? I got a little bit of time. I want to share with you this wild story that just happened at the top of August. I got a phone call from Tosh, the drummer, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. We did one session together like 4 years previous, and we follow each other on Instagram and, keep in touch a little bit here and there. But anyways, he calls me at like 11:30 in the morning on a Thursday and goes, "Hey man, this is kind of crazy, but my friend Carlie, she's on this headline tour and her guitar player is just not cutting it right now. And is there any way that you would be able to get on a plane to go to Toronto tomorrow and fill in for the rest of this tour?" And of course, I'm just like, that sounds awesome. I'm super down. This is kind of why I keep myself available for these opportunities to come up, and I'm down. So yeah, I have a couple gigs I need to get covered, but I'm pretty sure I can get those things covered. So let's do it. He said, okay, cool. I'm going to relay the message to her management, and they should be contacting you shortly. So the management team then calls me a couple hours later. So now we're talking like 1, 2 p.m. and they fill me in with pretty much the same stuff that Tosh told me. You know, Carlie's on this tour. They played in Milwaukee, and then they're playing in Chicago tonight. So I know this is kind of messed up, but if you could just hang tight, they're giving this guitar player like another chance to see how he does tonight. And if it doesn't go well, then we're going to have you go. But as of right now, this is like a 90% chance that we want to do this thing. So go ahead and send your passport over, and she's going to send you the music. And yeah, hang tight. We'll let you know. So I get the song sent over to me. Carlie texts me and sends me this list. And the song list was 21 songs long. So there's a 75-minute headline set. So we got an hour and 15-minute headline set with 21 songs. And as I'm listening to the music, I'm thinking, okay, like, it's not, you know, these aren't like Eddie Van Halen guitar solos or anything that I have to learn, but it's more just about remembering like what riff goes with what song. So I start kind of chipping away at it. But also, this is still like not 100% that it's going to happen. And then I'm also thinking like, okay, if this is going to happen, I need to like handle a couple things before I leave town. So I had to go like run to the store and grab a couple things and just like take care. Thank God I had done laundry like the night before, so that was already done. But yeah, so I go out, I'm doing this stuff. I'm picking up, you know, whatever it was that I needed to handle that day. And I'm on my way back home, and now it's like, I don't know, you know, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that, maybe pushing like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I get a call from my buddy Connor, and he's like, hey, we're gonna go surf Doheny River mouth. And I'm like, dude, I would love to do that, but I got this call for this tour. I filled him in, and he's like, dude, that's amazing, like, that's fucking awesome. Definitely, just, you know, you gotta do your homework, you know. So I get home, I'm like starting to kind of go over the music a little bit, and then Austin calls me and is like, hey man, we're gonna go surf Rivermouth. This hurricane swell's hitting pretty good right now. It looks really fun. Now I'm like, oh man, I haven't done any exercise yet today. I'm just gonna be sitting, so you know what, like, let's just let's call this like the exercise that I need for today. All right, I'll go surf for a little bit, because again, like, I don't even know if this is 100% happening. In my head, I'm thinking, like, I know they told me 90%, but I'm sure, like, they really wanted it to work out with this other guy. So, you know, what if I stay in all day learning this music, and then I get a phone call saying, like, hey, we're actually not going to need you. We're going to go with this guy. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go surf for a little bit, get some exercise, get the blood flowing. This is going to help me learn the music better. So I go surf, and honestly, it was, like, one of the most fun surf days I've had in a long time. It was a really good day. I get back to my truck and I check my phone to see if I heard anything. Still hadn't heard anything yet. So I'm going home, feeling good off of that surf. Now it's time to start working on this music, and I'm starting to realize, like, man, this is a lot of music. Like, I don't know. I wonder, well, you know, whatever. There's no turning back now. I gotta do this thing. So now it's like 9 o'clock, and I'm wondering what's going on. So I text the drummer, because we were put in contact as well, and asked him, like, if there was any updates, and he's like, no, not yet. We should know within the next hour or two, maybe by the morning at the latest. Like, sorry, just hang tight, you know. And then not even 20 minutes, maybe 20, 30 minutes went by. By 9:30, I got the text saying, all right, it's all been done. It's been handled. We need you to get on one of these flights. Here's your flight options. And they were all at like 7 a.m. Like the next morning, it was 7:45 a.m. was the flight that made the most sense, with like the least amount of layovers and whatever. So now it's 9:30 p.m. and I'm like, okay, we're doing this. And I have to be at the airport at 5:45 a.m. tomorrow to be there 2 hours early for this international flight. And it's going to take me 30 minutes to get there. So I had an Uber called for, you know, whatever, like the pre-Uber, where you just like hold it the night before. Uber is supposed to show up at my place at 5:15. Okay, so now I'm like really understanding that I need to know this music, and so I'm going through this list of 21 songs. And at this point, instead of like learning each one and trying to internalize each one, which is I think kind of how I was starting doing it, I'm like, I'm just going to get the key for each one of these songs. That way, like when I'm on the plane listening to them, I'll have like a reference point of knowing, you know, like if I know what key it's in, then I can kind of hear what the changes are from the intervals. So I'm doing that, and then I'm also kind of like, okay, well, and what do I need to bring? I'm going to be gone for this long, and when I meet up with them, we're going to be in a van, we're going to be staying in hotels, like I need to have whatever, you know, all of the things that I need to pack for clothes, toiletries. And then as far as my gear, like I really can only take one guitar and a pedal bag, and that's it. And like hopefully I got the right pedals for the job too, you know. So I'm like halfway like packing, I'm halfway listening to these songs, listening to the music, and it's getting late now. All of a sudden time is starting to fly. Oh, that's my food. All right, we're gonna set that for 2 more minutes. Time's starting to fly, and all of a sudden it's about to be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking, oh man, I gotta leave in 2 hours. I cannot stay up all night. I need to stop. I need to lay down. So I set my alarm for 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was too nervous that I was going to fall asleep and sleep through my alarm. So I just kind of like laid awake next to my phone for 2 hours. And at 5 a.m. my alarm goes off. I get up, slip my shoes on, brush my teeth, throw my toothbrush and that stuff in the bag, close it up, go downstairs, and I hop in this Uber. And this guy is like on some Adderall energy. He was super nice, but he was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. What an opportunity for you. Like, oh, if they're calling you last minute, then you must be really good. And man, like what an opportunity for you to step up to the plate. Like, dude, I know you're going to kill it. This is going to be awesome. I'm like, cool. Like I appreciate the positive vibes, but it was like a lot for that early in the morning. And but he got me to the airport smooth. Everything at the airport was smooth, but because I had a layover in Charlotte and because of the time change, by the time I got to Toronto, it was like 7 p.m. And then I get to my room, and there was like a big old hair on the towel rack, and then there was like a hair in the toilet. And like for me, I'm not really bothered by stuff too much, but then I get in the shower, and then like the shower starts filling up to my ankles, and I'm like, okay, I gotta change rooms. So I go downstairs. I'm like, look, I'm not one to complain ever, but this is what my room looks like. This is what's going on. They're like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll switch rooms. So I switch rooms, get to the room, take a shower, and in my head I go, all right, I saw this steakhouse over there. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna have a nice steak dinner, and then I'm gonna get back to the room and I'm gonna start learning this music. So I go have this dinner. It was great. I took my time, get back to the room. I mean, at this point it's now like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., something like that. And I remember sitting down on the hotel bed, getting ready to like tackle this list of 21 songs from the top. All right, I got to come back and get this food out of the oven. Hold on. Okay, so I sit down on the bed. I get ready to tackle this list of 21 songs from the top. And I kind of start to have my first mental breakdown of the trip, going, oh my God, like, what am I doing? I was so tired at this point. I hadn't slept. I mean, I had been up for like almost 2 days now at this point. And I'm listening to the music, and in one of the notes too from her was that like she wanted the music to sound like the album, and the previous guy was like kind of doing his own thing. And for me, it's like I can improvise all day, but if you want it to sound like the album, like I need to sit with it and also dial in my pedal board and find out like how much reverb, like what's the EQ look like, distortion, fuzz pedals, delay pedals, like whatever the effects were, you know, for each of these songs. Like it was all different, and the tuning was different for these songs. Like some of them were in drop D, some of them were like tuned a half step down and in drop D, some of them were like clearly an acoustic guitar with a capo. Some of them were in standard tuning. So like I'm sitting there just like exhausted, going, I don't know what I'm doing. Like this is crazy. Like why did I say yes to this? This is like such a crazy order. And I realize it's in my best interest like to just take a little nap right now. Like I can't force myself to stay awake. So it's like 11 p.m. I go to sleep from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. and then I wake up at 1 a.m. and I run the music from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and then I fall back asleep at 5, slept till like 11 a.m., woke up at 11, started running the music from like 11 to like 2:30, and then at 2:30 that's when I was like, all right, I need to hop in the shower, I need to like get ready to get to this venue, because I was staying by the airport and the venue was like in the city, which was like at least 30 minutes, and now this is like I think a Friday, if not maybe a Saturday. And so anyways, I'm on the Uber ride over to the venue, and I'm like kind of just like dozing off in the Uber because this is my opportunity to get a little bit of rest. And I get there, they're now rushing from Chicago, like running behind schedule a little bit. And when we met, the energy was definitely a little weird, just because like I think they were just, you know, obviously bummed that they had to let their friend go. I know they didn't want to do that, and then now they got this new kid coming in who's like, what are the odds that he is going to learn all this music in 1.5 days? So it was, you know, I mean, they were really nice, but I could feel the energy was just like, oh man, like this is all kind of weird and sad. And that first show was rough. I mean, I got the first, I don't know, I feel like I got the first like 6 or 7 songs like pretty decent, because I had been running them, but like after the 7th song, it was like, all right, what, you know, we still have 14 other songs that I learned all the riffs for them. You know, I figured out how each of those songs went and like played through them all, but it was just remembering like, okay, which riff, like what was the tempo for this one and that one. And we got to a little bit further in the set, and there's this one song 608 where it's like in 3, and usually if a song's in 3 or 6 or however you want to count it, you know, the counting would be like 1 2 3 1 2 3 and then lead you in. Well, this counting, so I guess I didn't say that, all of it was in ears and we're playing to track. So it was a drummer, me playing guitar, Carlie singing, and then all the other instruments were filled in with tracks that we were playing along to, that we had the in-ear mix with like a metronome and a slate, which is like a person telling you like, you know, what the song name is, and or like there's a bridge coming up or something. So in a way that helped, like having that as a guide, but at the same time it was also like the metronome can run away from you really quick if you're not like ready and committed to whatever that tempo is. So anyways, for this song 608, it's in 3, and the metronome just goes 608 1 2 3 2 2 2, and then the metronome just starts going, and it ran away from me in the beginning. I mean, the crowd can't hear the metronome, so like I just kind of looked back at the drummer, he stopped it, restarted it, and then I caught it, but then I was playing like the wrong cadence, so I was like changing the chords too fast or something, and so Carlie goes, oh no, that's not it, and so we had to stop it again and then start it over again, and then I got it. Man, maybe I did get it on the 3rd one or the 4th one, I don't know. It was traumatizing. I was just like in front of a full live crowd, and we had to stop the song, and Carlie's like, that's not it, and then she's like, should we skip it to the next one? And I remember being like, no, I got this, I promise, I learned the song, we can do it. And then I did get it on like the 3rd or 4th try, and we made it through. She also took that moment to stop and say like, hey guys, we were trying to play it cool, but just so you know, like this is Travis, like he just flew in last night and we sent him all these songs yesterday, and so the crowd was like, oh my god, you know, that like eased some tension, everybody was cool about it. And then we rode the rest of the show through. I think there was another hiccup on one of these other songs that was like more of actually a simple one, which is probably why, because I was just like, oh, the song's easy, and I just like ran through it real quick, and I don't know. Anyways, this is all just to say the first show, like I was hoping to go in and just like hit it out of the park and then be like, oh my god, like how did you learn all this music in such a short amount of time, and like be amazed, and that's not exactly what happened. Like they were like, yeah, I could see how it will be better by the next show, like, you know, at least you were playing like a lot of these parts, so like it's okay, you know, but they weren't like, wow, that was amazing and that's what I wanted. So I was bummed. They were like, I think they were okay with it, but just kind of like, fuck, that wasn't really like that much better. So for the next, like, I mean, that night I remember going back to the hotel room and like just listening to the music in my headphones, and then we had a full day of driving where I was like living in my headphones, and we got to Scranton, Pennsylvania, which was our stop between Toronto and Brooklyn for the night. So we did have one travel day between the next show, and that night a couple of them went out to like grab drinks and food, and I just stayed in the hotel room. And that night for me particularly, like one of the big things I was missing from that first show was like my pedal board being programmed with all the effects that was needed for each song. Because I was just sort of winging it, being like, all right, well, I guess like I can just hit my like overdrive pedal for this, and I could just throw some delay on it here. But like I needed, like in some of these songs, like the EQ needed to be dialed, and thank God I have a Line 6 HX Stomp pedal on my board, which is a digital multi-effects pedal, and you can sit there and program, like there's 99 different channels or something you can save. So like for each song I was going through and just like putting the right EQ and the right sort of like overdrives and like fuzz pedals and different things that was needed. Yeah, so that was a whole mission. I mean, I was up again till like 3 o'clock in the morning that night, just like doing that whole thing. And then the next day was the drive from Scranton, Pennsylvania to Brooklyn, where I was just living in my headphones again all day. And then in the green room, I was just like playing along to the show track to my laptop. And then that night was a good show. Like it was good. I felt good about it. It felt way better than the Toronto, like leaps and bounds better than the Toronto show. But there was still like a couple parts where I just, like, me personally, I knew like I could have played a little bit better here and on this song as well. And you know, but I mean, what do you expect? It was like I still am like running off no sleep and just hearing all this music for the first time. But it was cool because we went out for drinks and stuff that night. I don't really drink. I think if you guys know me, you already know that. But the drummer, Andy, and myself, we stayed up pretty late, and he had a nice little buzz going and was just like, man, I saw you living in your headphones. I saw you stay in the hotel and just like working on that music over and over again, and you fucking killed it, man. Like, you fucking killed it. And I already know, like, I know you have like your little spots where you think you could have done better, but I already know that it's like gonna be better in the next one, and it's gonna be better in the next one. By the time we get to the Troubadour in LA, like, I'm not even worried about it, man. Like, you stepped up, you killed it, like, fuck yeah, you know. And so that was like what I needed to hear that night to be like, okay, cool, they're happy, I'm good, like, I can do this. This is crazy. It was like a wild feeling of like, oh my God, I can't believe like I'm doing this. So yeah, so then we, you know, the next show after that was Nashville. And okay, so here's another like little detail, is that when we did Toronto and we did Brooklyn, like I had an iPad with like the notes of like what the chord sequences were, and if this song had a bridge or if it had a break, and like each song had, you know, its notes under it. And I was referencing that when we were in Brooklyn. But you know, when it's a show like this where it's an original project, I feel like the last thing people want to see is like a person reading off of a music stand or an iPad. So I pride myself on having like a pretty good music memory, and I figured, all right, I did Toronto, I did Brooklyn, I think I can pull off Nashville without any notes. So I did Nashville with no notes, and I'll be honest, I would say it was probably just as good as the Brooklyn show, which was good, like good enough to pass, but I still like had a couple little things just because I didn't have a notepad to reference. So that was Nashville. And then Atlanta was our last East Coast stop. And when we were in Atlanta, like, I really knew the music. I felt really good about it. And that show went as smooth as it could have. I think the in-ear mixes were kind of weird, but aside from that, like, I knew the music. And then when we got to San Francisco, I knew the music. And then when we did the last show at the Troubadour in LA, like, I felt totally solid with it. So the whole point of the story is I got this call. It felt like an impossible thing, but I was up for the challenge and made it happen. It blows my mind. It really is a testament to the human brain of like what you can accomplish under some pressure, and if, you know, you think something's possible. 'Cause yeah, like, how did I learn 21 songs in that short amount of time? I don't know. But you just throw yourself into the fire and you figure it out. And here we are. I just did a one-off little festival with Carlie up in Boise last weekend. And then next weekend we're going out to Dallas. So I guess I can say I've earned my keep. And and I still got these, local gigs going on. And I'm excited for Shay's album, which will be coming out sometime soon. And stuff that we got going on with Dev and just all the different people that we got on this music scene between LA and San Diego, Orange County. It's an exciting time right now. So yeah, anyways, cheers.